Now let's take a look at Inkscape's features and look at how to use some of those features. When you open Inkscape, it's going to look like this or something very similar. Now, depending on whether you have a Mac or Windows, it could look a little bit different. It seems like there's some different layouts, but you should be able to find everything, even if it's not exactly like what you're seeing here. Now, if you go up to the top toolbar, where you see File, Edit, View, these will drop down other menus that you can use, and we'll be going to those at various times. There are also some others that are just below that that have icons. The series of icons that have little magnifying glasses allow you to zoom in on certain things, and it just saves you some steps. And so this page right here, that's what this gray rectangle is. When you save your work, the only thing that will be saved that I can see when you send me your file is what's inside that rectangle. Imagine it like a piece of paper. So you can create things on the sides and use them kind of as a clipboard, but your actual image will only appear within the boundaries of this rectangle. And you can get there by hitting this zoom. And it'll also tell you some hotkeys. So in my case, I can hit the number 5 and it'll zoom in for me if you want to do things even quicker. Your first assignment is found in the teacher notes, and it asks you to make a little cartoon character using some tools from Inkscape. So let's kind of go through how to make that cartoon character. It starts out with a body that looks like a triangle. So you'll notice along the left-hand side, you've got a number of tools here that you can select from. Now, we're going to pick first this polygon tool, which has a star and a picture of a pentagram. Pentagon. Yeah, that's what that is. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag and hold this. Now, mine's already set to make a triangle, but when you drag and hold yours, it might not make a triangle. That's because if you look up here in the top, when we click that tool, it has all these different variations that we can use for our shapes. And I've selected 3 corners, but if I change that, I can get all kinds of different images by changing the number of corners. You also have a tool that allows you to round those corners, make things look different. And then you've got this weird one called randomized that will just sort of make random shapes. Okay, but I don't want any of those things. I want to reset all of this. These should be set to 0. The rounding should be set to 0. And I want 3 corners. So here's my triangle. If I click on this little arrow, it allows me to move my triangle around on my workspace. If I click on it again, it'll give me these little rotating signs, and I can turn that any way that I want to, so I can make my triangle in the orientation I choose. If I click on it again, I'm going to go back again. This is with that first pointer tool. I can also drag and hold this and make my triangle bigger. Now, so far, all we've got is this plain white triangle with a black outline. You can change your colors. You can change the color of your outlines by going to the Fill and Stroke tools here. If you click Shift Control F, you should get this panel to pop up if you don't already see it. Fill and Stroke, all right? Fill is the color on the inside, stroke is the outline. So we're going to begin by adding some fill to our shape. Now, first of all, we cannot add any fill unless it's selected, so we need to select our shape. Now, you'll see that it pops up a variety of different color wheels. I can choose from different color palettes. I like to use this wheel, that's just me, and because I can slide it around and pick the colors I want at random. Also, at the bottom, you should see a color palette of some kind. Now, yours might not look like mine because it's really hard to see, but there's a little triangle over here on the side, and that allows you to pick different palettes here. But I want to go with the regular SVG palette here. So that's kind of an easy way to pick out your colors, but you can also select your colors. So let's say, I think I kind of want this guy to be a teal color. So I can take this triangle here and rotate it over here to kind of this teal. Now, my color hasn't changed because the circle indicates where my color is. So I'm going to drag that, oops, I thought I was, drag that circle. Come here, you. Oh, you're going to be that way. All right. I'm going to drag that circle over here, and you see now, as I turn my circle, it changes my colors. All right, so there's my fill color. Even a little brighter there. Now see, if I wanted to make it a lighter color, I could move my circle over this way, a darker tint this way, or a darker shade. So I kind of like that. All right, so now I'm going to do something with the outline. I'm not sure I like that outline. So I want a different color outline. I can use this. Now if I click X, it gets rid of my outline entirely. I click this one, it gives me my full outline. And so right now it's set on black, but see, I could slide that in there and maybe have a green outline. Or I could swing this around and try some other outlines. Now it's not very thick, so if I want a thick outline, that's where I'm going to go to Stroke Style. And you can see I can adjust the width with this or type in a numerical value. I can also change other things about my lines. I can make dashed, dotted lines, all that sort of thing. Okay, but let's just leave it like this for now. So now I have the triangle body. I want my character to have some eyes, so I'm going to use the circle tool to create the eyes. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to make a circle. Now I'm going to make one eye, and then I'm going to copy the eyes, and that way they'll be exactly the same. So here's my first eye, but I don't really want that eye to be blue. I want it to be white. Well, I can go over here to the fill, and notice it's selected because I have the dotted line on it. I can just click the white and it'll change that to white. Now, let's see. Let's give him another eye, like a pupil or the colored part of his eye here. All right, and what color eyes should he have? Maybe I'll pick blue. Come here. Oh, you're just a little turkey. Come here. There you go. There, we're gonna pick blue. Let's make it a little darker. And I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of that stroke entirely because I don't want that. All right, so now let's move the colored part of the eye in here. And then I want a black pupil for my eye. So we'll pull out another one, change that one to black. And now I've got the black pupil part of my eye. Now I think it's probably going to be cute if I add like some little highlights to the eye. So I can put in some circles of white, maybe an oval color of white here. And let's see how that works. Good thing I have pointers around it because I can't see it. And I can make like a little highlight cut out of my eye there. And maybe make another one that's a little bit smaller. Put that one down here. Oops, that's way too big. How about that? All right. Okay, that looks like it might work for an eye. There's something kind of cool you can do. Lots of tools to learn about. You can add a little blur to it so it's not quite, see over here right underneath. So it's not a harsh edge, so it might look a little more like a little highlight there. And I might want to do the same thing with this surrounding part of my eye. I'm just going to put a little blur in there. Just makes it where it's just looks a little bit more realistic, maybe, if this kind of an eye can be realistic. All right, so now I've got my little eye here, and I'm going to take my pointer and I'm going to go all the way around that eye. And notice it selects everything that I made. So now I'm going to go up to Object, and I'm going to group those. So now the computer is looking at all of those as one group, so I can move it around as a group. Now I want to make another eye that's just like it. So here I'm going to duplicate it. And on my computer, it's Control C, Control V. Yours might be something different if you're not using a Mac. But now you can see that I've got two eyes. Now, I might want to make that other eye smaller so you can see I can adjust that eye. I can click on it and rotate it a little so it looks a little bit different. I might want to rotate this one just a little so he's kind of looking that way. And I don't know, I don't necessarily really like those purple lines on there, but that'll do. You get the idea. I want you to be creative, make up your own. Okay, now let's take a look at a way that we can make a mouth. Now I'm gonna pull out a circle. Now, oh my gosh, a lot of people would say it didn't work, but it did work. Remember, it's filling it with white and we don't have an outline. So let's go to our fill. And let's fill that with a color. It's not going to matter, but I'm going to pick a little mouth color here. Here, there. All right, now what I'm going to do here to make a mouth is I'm going to use shapes to cut things out. The big thing with Inkscape is you don't want to draw. It's all about manipulating shapes. Okay, so I'm going to draw another ellipse over the top of this one. Make it another color just so you can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to select both of those so I can pick this selection tool here. Now I can either click on that one, hold down the Shift key and click on the other one, or I can draw a box around all of them. But I need to select both. Now I'm going to go up to Path and I'm going to hit Difference. And see how it cuts away from the first shape, whatever you covered it with the second shape. And so now I can take this and use it as a mouth. And if I want it to be a little smaller, I can do that. And I've adjusted. Now, where our little person needs some feet. So we're going to practice using this curve tool that we're going to be using a lot more of. But we're just going to use it to make straight lines today. So we're going to click on this. Now the way this tool works is you click, let up, click, click, let up, and just make kind of a leg shape. And I'm going to double click when I'm done on the same spot. All right, click, click. I would double click if I wanted to stop there, but if I go into that same box, it's going to automatically close it for me. Now I've created these shapes. I can treat these shapes like any other shapes. They're filled with white, they've got a black outline. Now, if I want my legs to be the same as the body, I can go to my fill, I can click fill, and see this little eyedropper down here. This little eyedropper tool, I can click on that. I can go over here and click on my tool, my shape, and it's going to give me that same color. All right, so I'm going to do that to the other leg. And I can take that eyedropper tool, click it, and there's the other leg. Now I might want to make that back leg a little bit smaller, so I can just squeeze that down. I can rotate it if I want to, move it back. Now notice that it's covering over the top, and I don't want it to cover over the top. That looks bad. So you have a way to reorder your objects. If you look up here at the top, you'll see that these little stacks of paper with these arrows, imagine all of these as little cutout pieces of paper that you can rearrange. I want this one to be in back of the big triangle. So I'm going to move it all the way to the back. I'm going to click lower selection to the bottom. And now you can see that it's moved behind it. Now I might want to make some arms, and so for the arms we can try some other tools. The pencil tool, it's really hard. I try to tell people don't try to draw a lot of lines, but everybody wants to give it a try. So you can draw some arms. Now there's a way to take the shakiness out of it if it looks really shaky. Up here it says smoothing. You can change the smoothing, and the more you smooth it, the more it's going to make straighter kinds of lines. Then we want to add a little hair on top, okay? And we have completed our first project. Now what you want to do after you finish your project, and probably, oops, all right, I don't want you, turn off. I'm done with you. All right. If you don't like something, you can always hit this undo button. Now we're going to save this, and you're going to click File, Save As, and it's going to give you some places to save things, okay? I really recommend that you make a file to save your drawings in so that you don't lose them, okay? And you're going to title it with your name and then what this is. So this is Introduction to Digital Art. We'll just call it Intro. And then put your name after it and then save. And that's the file that you'll upload to the Dropbox for me to grade. I hope you've enjoyed making your first Inkscape project. I look forward to seeing your work. And in our next lesson, we will be looking at how to create a logo using Inkscape. Until next time, bye.